topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Mindset Marketing Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry. With your host, Marie Mason.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh my gosh, we have an amazing show this week. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yay.
We're going to take a non-sexy topic and make it sexy.
We have to. We needed to talk about this topic because it's something that nobody wants to talk about, but it's part of business.
Yes. And you know, it's funny. We always talk about marketing and promoting your webinars and promoting your business. And everyone talks about the content, right? Content is king. And oh my gosh, so many amazing things. But there's so much more to business that people don't realize. And that's what we're going to touch on tonight. A little different kind of perspective tonight.
Yeah, stay with us.
I can't wait. But before we bring up tonight's guest, I have some things to share with you, Plinny. You ready? My church
Tell me everything.
My church came in this weekend, and actually 6 volunteers. I lost count. Between 6 and 8 volunteers came over, and they helped me repave my patio. They cleaned every brick by hand, and I have a townhouse, so it's not like a huge patio. It's not that big, but it is pretty large enough for, it wouldn't have been too much for 1 or 2 people, but for 6 to 8 people, it worked out beautifully. And I did some weeding, and they did the heavier stuff, and I just did serving them some snacks as a thank you. I always like to be a blessing back. So I gave them brownies, which they were excited about anyway, so that worked out beautifully. I paid them in brownies. So, and my hospitality. So anyway, long story short, they were so sweet, and they cleaned everything up, repositioned it, and we didn't have to get any extras, so that was good. It was just, we used what we had. And we put black liner down and evened out the ground a little bit. And I was wanting to do that for our landlord because we've been there for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
Built in like the 80s. And I'm sure that it hasn't been touched in like 80 years. I wanted to know, it's so nice to go out in the patio now because it's clean. There's no like moss on the ground or weeds coming through, because normally I'm going out and picking the weeds and the moss for the last 19 years. And I'm like,
patio.
I'm so done with that. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a lot less weeding because I even have black weed liner in my garden. So I have a lot less weeding to deal with. And it's so nice when you don't have to go out and do but only a minimal amount of weeding.
I love it.
A lot better than, I'm all about like the middle amount of effort. So all I really do mostly is go out there and prune it and pick the things when it comes out and water it. It is so simple and easy to maintain now. So thank you, Movement Church, and from Charlottesville, Virginia, for coming out there on Serve Day and loving on your parishioner who is forever grateful for your service. Seriously, no joke. I'm really hoping. I brought this up too because next week's speaker, or it's either going to be next week because I haven't gotten a chance to get hold of him, and it's either going to be next week or in September. But I'm really, really hoping that the pastor of Movement Church, Jeff Nicoletti, will hopefully be speaking on a topic, and then either next week or he's been so busy this summer, it's been hard to nail him down long enough to confirm him. So if I can't confirm him, we'll do something different. But in the meantime, he's going to be coming to our show for the first time. So keep an eye and ear out for him. He is fantastic. He's just very fun to hear. I hear him every week, and he's always very engaging and got very good points, and that are just amazing points to live by.
Yeah, wow.
So that's coming on down the road. And that's why I wanted to recognize my church for being such big blessings to my family and I, and to helping us beautify our backyard, because now we can entertain for the rest of the summer. Hopefully have
that sounds great.
Yeah, we're going to have them over for a cookout as a thank you. So anyway, long story short, that was not part of my normal script. I just had to share something fun about my life because I'm so happy about that. And we're going to go see my my mom this weekend in DC. So that's going to be fun for us to see her. But really, really fantastic stuff I wanted to share. There's a question I had to ask you, Pliny, and I don't know if I'm going to ask the audience too. Have you ever been stuck on sharing about your marketing message?
I think it happened to all of us as solo entrepreneurs.
Right.
I think so.
Sometimes
right?
you just had that. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think of what to say, and it's just hard to do it. Right. So I'm going to share one quick tip, and I'm going to also point back to Hannah Calapuli. I'm sorry. Can you remember how to pronounce her last name? I'm sorry. I'm so butchering her last name. But anyway,
Calapuli, yeah.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, she was here a couple of weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago, and she did a fantastic job and did a really good breakdown about it too. And basically, the top tip week, the top tip. Okay, say that 20 times and not get tongue-tied. Okay, top tip of the week. I got to get that right one of these days, Plenty.
Top tip of the week. Yeah.
It's a tongue twister, right? Anyway, so the top tip for this week is in marketing, and it's your story, and it's how you got. It's really broken down in this simple format. It is your story is all about how you got started, how you overcame challenge, and how you and the share the outcome, and what is it that you would like. And what is it that what is it that you want them to get out of your outcome? So that's really the basic message. And then the final piece of it is just sharing what it is you want to do next with you. What is it that you want them to get out, working with you? So, I mean, that's really super simple broke down, but I think Hannah did a much, much more detailed and simple explanation as well.
I mean, everybody listen out, all our episodes are on our YouTube channel, so check it out. Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. So go there, and you will find Anna's episode a few weeks ago, and she shared a lot of stuff about marketing, and it was so simple the way she said it. Right, like step-by-step stuff. So if you're an entrepreneur, like I'm pretty sure you are, if you're listening, just go there because she shared amazing stuff.
Exactly.
Like every guest every week, and today's week, like
every guest is amazing. I mean, we all bring in the best of the best because we want people to get value out of our show and be able to take action steps away and be able to apply them. And that's really so crucial. It's one thing to sit there and listen to a radio show and say, oh yeah, that's great information. But if you don't apply it, how's it going to benefit you? So our show, we want you to walk away, not just to learning something, but we want you to be able to apply what you learned and be able to succeed at it. So, and your effort is going to be your effort. So without further ado, I'm going to have Plinny bring up our guests for this week. Would you like to do the honor?
I'm really excited because this week's topic is really something we don't want to talk about as an entrepreneurs and business people. Because it's, as we said, it's not sexy. But this week's guest is Svetina, and she's a financial puzzle solver for women-owned businesses. And oh my God, she's the owner of Fractional CFO, and Katie helps business owners get clear on their numbers and create a financial strategy so that they can make decisions that lead to a healthy and sustainable business. That's what we want. Why you want that? So today's topic is financial planning for business. So bring paper and pen and take notes because this is huge. Take it away, Kathy.
Come on down, Kathy. Are you here? Oh, there you
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Marie. Hi, Plinny. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited for this.
Welcome.
Excited to have you. Yeah. So sorry for the extra long wait. I wasn't quite. Sometimes we sort of ad lib somewhere along the line too. So
no, I'm excited for all your patio and what you're doing. So great. I'm doing similar in my house right now, and it's so exciting.
Thank you. Well, I love those before and after pictures that they show when they do those do-it-yourself things. I mean, like it's so inspiring, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I want to just go out and entertain for the rest of the summer. So yes, we're going to be doing some of that this summer and fall. Of course, my husband's the one in charge of the grill, so hopefully he'll be okay with that. That's his specialty, not mine. Anyway, okay, so we're really off topic today, but let's put it this way. Sometimes you have to have some common ground. You know what I mean? You got to find some things that your audience is going to relate to too. And somebody might be a gardener or a do-it-yourselfer, and we got to be able to find a way to relate to them too. So it's all good. We're so happy to have you here. So, real quick, I wanted to ask you before we jump into our topic, and it's two questions, but I wanted to ask you the first one. First, what made you choose your career path? And I'm always curious about how people get started, and if you can keep it brief, because I know I want to get into your topic too. So,
Yeah, I actually knew that I wanted to be in finance since I was 12 years old.
wow.
And so I knew it very, very early on, but I thought that I'm going to be a stockbroker. I was really fascinated with stocks, and I was fascinated with the whole exchanges. And I went into college thinking that I'm actually going to be a stockbroker. Long story short, the university that I was in enabled us to actually shadow a couple of those people. I realized this is not the path that I want to go down. It's just not good. It's very stressful. So I said, that's not something that it's a good fit for me. And then when I was exploring what I really wanted to do, there's the other side of finance. It's a corporate finance that really deals with financial planning, actually using the resources that the company has, such as cash, human resources, equipment, and planning for the future of the company, making sure that, everything is where it should be so that the company is actually healthy, that's sustainable. And that was something that was really, really interesting to me. And that's how I started. I started in corporate. I was working there for 14 years for large corporations, Fortune 500 companies, billion-dollar companies. And then I wanted to start my own business. And now I'm doing this for small businesses.
Sweet. See? You
Amazing.
It's always amazing to me too. And I know this Plinny seemed like intrigued by it too, but it's always amazing to me how people get started because sometimes things just surface and you never know what opportunities that you could be open to. So, oh my gosh, great story. And then I can see that finances are your passion. So let's go into the topic if we can. I'll get started with the questions, and Plenty and I are going to tag team. So the next question I have for you is, why do you focus on women business only? What is it about that made you decide to go in that direction for your target market?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And because, being in finance, I saw that there's not a lot of women in that space. And what really bothered me, when you go into the small businesses, no one's really doing finances for them. And when they are, majority of them are men. So I really wanted to focus on women-owned businesses so that they can be comfortable with someone who's doing their finances, because it's not just about the finances. You really have someone who's advising your business, who's there, who's holding your hand, who's your guide, and making sure that you're actually being comfortable with someone, that you can share those type of things with them and with your business. And it's a very personal relationship. So having someone that's a woman, it's a very it really helps. It really helps. It's more personal. So I wanted to offer that type of stuff to businesses, to women-owned businesses. And the other piece too is my own personal mission. I really want to see more women in leadership roles and the CEO roles. And the way how to get there, to have your own company, to be the CEO of your company, to really understand your numbers and to understand your finances. And to get there, you really need someone to help you who has the expertise with it. And that's where I come in as a fractional CFO and helping women business owners. And that's why I chose that particular market.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, because Plinny and I both own our own businesses, right? Plinny?
Yeah, exactly. I really agree with that, because I've been in a corporate industry as well, and I actually went out from there. It's so masculine, if I can say that, environment, too many men, and the position for women are not easy to get, especially in the management, because you have always to give twice what a man give in the same position to be accepted. And you're always too female or feminine for those positions anyway. So it's really nice that actually something is changing, or I feel that the women are actually helping each other finally, because that's what we want to do, because we are better than them. Doing half of it, we're like them.
Let's just rephrase that one slightly. We have our unique skill sets and they have theirs. Because we may think we're better than them, but honestly, there's really no competition because we know that we each have our own
better.
power. We each have our own power. I'm trying to be positive so we don't get kicked out of it.
No, of course I'm joking. Like there are a lot of men that they do their own job, but to be honest, yes, there are no enough women in CEO positions or in management positions in every industry. I've been in corporate, I've been in music industry, and I'm still in music industry, and in a lot of industries there is a lack of that. And what Katie said, that we are actually more comfortable like talking hard topics like finance with a woman. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel better because we understand each other better. And I think it's the same for men, like with men.
Right.
I think so.
You bring up a good point because we all have our different skill sets, but when it comes to being able to understand the same gender, women can definitely relate better to women, and like you were trying to say, and men can definitely relate to men. So it's nice to be able to have somebody who's a woman in finances, because there's sometimes we have to share some personal, intimate details about our business or our lives, and sometimes it's not always easy to do that with a man. Sometimes it's easier to do it with a woman, and it just depends on the person and their personality. So you bring up a very valid point. But I have a question for you. You brought up about fractional CFO. Can you tell us what a fractional CFO is? That's a term I have never heard of before. I don't know if Plinny has, but I have never heard of it.
Yeah, no, never heard of it either. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
financial stuff. There you go.
Inquiring minds want to know.
So a fractional CFO, it's not just for CFOs. You have fractional CMOs, marketing officers. You have fractional COOs, operating officers. The fractional piece means that they are in your business for a fraction of the time, a part-time. So it's, if you want it in a simple term, it's a part-time CFO. So they are not there for 40 hours a week with your business, because as a small business, you really don't need that. You do not need that type of expertise and that type of cost in your business on a full-time basis, because CFOs are strategic, they're very high level, and they cost more money than a regular employee. So having that in your business can get really expensive. So that's why they're for a fraction of the time, so that you get that strategic expertise and the planning for your business, but you get it for a fraction of the cost, a fraction of the time.
So you're affordable, basically, it sounds like.
Yes, for a fraction of the time.
Okay, so less time and less cost, but you can still get the same amount of work done.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to drive at. Okay, good.
And you still get the same expertise that you would get from a regular CFO as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, and we all need someone who can be more budget friendly, I guess is the word for it now. I don't know. What's the new buzzword these days, Plinny? I don't know. Do you know, Kathy? There's I don't know. There's so many different buzzwords out there. It's hard to keep track of. So that is fantastic. We might have a chance to get into one more question before we go. Plinny, do you want to do a quick question for her real quick before we jump into the next segment?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure in our audience there are a lot of small business owners. And what's the way you approach a work with a small business owner?
So the way how I work, and this is separate for every fractional CFO, they have their own processes. But when a business comes to me, they usually come through a referral, or they've seen my content somewhere. No one wakes up in the middle of the night and says, I need a fractional CFO, right? So usually someone already tells them, you nudge them, hey, you really need that type of expertise in your business. Go talk to Kathy. So when they come to me, the first thing that I do is obviously I listen to them. I listen to the problems that they have, making sure that they really do need someone who's a fractional CFO in their business and that I can actually help them. And then we do the financial health check. So the financial health check is like a 360 overview of the business. looking at what's really happening. What are your goals? Because that's really important. Do you want to sell the business down the road? Do you want to grow it more? Because if you want to sell the business, you better start thinking about it today, so that when you sell it 3-5 years down the road, so that the business is positioned for you, so that you can get the most for your business out when you're selling it to the sellers. So those are the type of things that I really need to know when I start talking to the business and figuring out, what are the plans. And then once we do the financial health check, I look through the hood of their business, essentially the business model, what they're doing. And then we put a plan together. How are we going to work? Is it going to be on a project basis, advisory basis, or is it going to be a monthly support that they need? The big thing for me as a fractional CFO, I want to make sure that the person who I'm working with really gets the most out of my services, because I would not be a good fractional CFO if I just gave someone, these are my services and that's what you get. So really understanding what do they need, and so that I can provide for them. So that's the first step.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And great question, Plinny. No, but we actually have to get ready soon to go to a commercial break. But before I do, what is one of the biggest focuses, one quick tip of how do we, and it's probably something we may have to continue on to the second half of the show, but how do we know when it's the right time to start really planning for our future? Let's say we're still getting our businesses going and we're not making a lot of income or trying to stay afloat. So in that early stage of the business, how do we know when it's the right time to make that choice to start planning ahead for like retirement, and when we can barely see break even, so to speak? Does that make sense? I know a lot of people are struggling at their beginning stages of the business. So I was just wondering how that would work out. And then we'll jump into the commercial break shortly after that. So
yeah, and that's a great question. So, and I'll try to be quick with this before the commercial break. When you're just starting out, you don't really need a fractional CFO, because we are essentially for businesses that are a lot more advanced. So that the businesses that I work are between $1 million and 10 million. But however, as you're just starting out, the first thing that you really should be getting is a bookkeeper. So have someone really update your books on a regular basis, and then have someone as an accountant that's really going to help you figure out, how to do the tax liability and making sure that everything is up to the par. So those are the two people that are really going to help you if you are in that initial stage of your business. However, as you grow and as you're going to have more questions of how do I really, for example, does this product offering that I have, does this really make sense? How much am I going to make? How can I really grow the business from, let's say, $1 million to 10 million? What type of people do I need? And how can I actually pay them? These are the type of things that you're going to have for a fractional CFOs help you with, and they're going to be able to plan that financial future for you. But on the early stages of the business, you don't really need that. You can do that yourself in a spreadsheet and some good time to actually put in and look through your financials and think through of it.
Right. That is so brilliant. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And I am so grateful you were able to stick around, because like I said, this is not an easy topic, but like Tiny said, it's a necessary topic. So I want to say thank you to Kathy. And how do you pronounce it? Is it Svetina? I wasn't too far off the mark. Svetina, for sharing valuable tips on how our audience could grow their business and themselves on the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show. And her topic is financial planning for business, which is ultra important in this day and age, and in any time when you're growing a business, because you need to know all those ins and outs about it. So Kathy has agreed to stick around for the second half of the show and is willing to answer any questions from our audience. So if anyone is listening, please type in the chat. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, and you will be able to, we'll be able to funnel the questions to her, and she'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, if you want, she can also do it on the YouTube channel or Facebook as well. So that ends this segment of the show, and you're listening to the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show with your host, Marie Mason, and my lovely and talented co-host, Plinny Phoenix. We will be right back, and you're going to a commercial break now.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Marketing Mindset Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry, with your host, Marie Mason. The show is brought to you by Liberty Virtual Solutions. We work with business coaches and speakers to help them market and host their webinars and upsell their coaching programs and develop heart-centered relationships with their audience. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Show with your host, Marie Mason, a premier podcast that helps you master your marketing skills.
Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I just love that music every day, every week,
Yeah,
Kathy.
yeah.
Very
It's
energetic.
groovy.
Yeah. Okay, that's Stephanie's turn. I know, it's very catchy, and that's actually Cheryl Bernstein's voice that's actually doing the audio like the voice. And Smiley Retox actually did our Joseph Paul Smile was one of our guests on the show, and he did the intros and outros and put it together for me for all this
Oh, wow.
stuff. So I
Nice.
had so many people have been helping put this show together behind the scenes. I have to give them a little plug every now and then because they are so sweet, every single one of them. So yeah, be surprised how many people have pitched in to make the show work every week. But anyway, but we do
It
have some
takes a
great.
village, right?
It really does. Takes a village to raise a child, but a senior and everybody in between, and a business. So a business owner. There you go. So long story short, we do have some great questions for you. Plinny, do you want to ask the next question that's on there?
Yeah, so welcome back to the second part, and Katie Svetina is here, and Katie is a financial puzzle solver for women-owned businesses, and she helped with the financial strategies. So I was really curious, like you talk about your job and what you do already, and you were talking about how that your job is important to make a business healthy and successful and sustainable. But what does it mean really to have an healthy and sustainable business?
That's a good question.
Yeah, a healthy and sustainable business is essentially a business that is financially stable and that supports your goals, whatever the goals are for you as a business owner. So that means that you also have a healthy relationship with your employees, your suppliers, and your vendors. And I usually tell that, having profit in your business is like super, super easy, because all you need to do is just slash the cost as much as possible. You don't pay your vendors your time. And there's all sorts of like really bad tactics that you just should not be doing. And the problem with that is that it comes at a significant cost to your business, because it really costs your business in brand. It costs in your, you're going to have overturn in your employees. There's all sorts of stuff. So realizing that your business is not a lone island, you're connected to this like ecosystem of other businesses, the economies nationally and internationally. So meaning that every time you make a decision in your business, there's some good things that you should be asking yourself, such as, how is this going to affect my business in the short term? But also, how is this going to affect it in the long term? So think about it, not just for the next 3 months, but for the next year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. And also the really big one too is, the decision that you're making, does it match your values and the values of your business, the mission of your business? How is this going to affect the relationship with your clients and your customers and how you serve them? And how is this going to affect the relationships with the people that work for you and your vendors?
Oh yeah.
That's great. It's no shortcuts.
Right.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely.
So it begs me to wonder, how do you get to have a sustainable business? I'm just asking because you gave us some great insights on the other half of it, but how do you get to the point of having a sustainable business?
A lot of that comes with, like I said, asking yourself those questions that I just walked you through, like really sitting down and asking those questions. And the other piece is doing the financial planning. And the financial planning means that you are not being reactive in your business. You're actually being proactive in your business. And that's a huge thing, because just when you think about it, when you're starting to drive, the farther you want to go, the more you have to plan. So if you're just gonna drive, to the grocery store, for example, you don't really need to put it in the GPS because you know that road. But if you want to go to the next town, like across the country, if your goals are that big, you really want to know how you get there the best possible way, the least amount of expenses, the gas that's going to cost you. The same thing with the businesses. The farther you want to go, the more you really should be planning, so that you can be proactive, and that you can see if there's any trouble down the road, and you can actually figure out how to fix that before you, so to speak, get into a ditch, right?
Right. That's a great analogy. I just wanted to get a little expanded on there, just because I know sometimes people can hear a lot of questions, but then if you illustrated that great point, sometimes those points really can make it clear to somebody in case they're confused on it. So no, perfect, perfect. Love it. Love the illustrations. So, Plenty, you want to ask the next question?
Yeah, because the metaphor was really nice, by the way. So you have a long trip, and then you have to organize everything, like where you have to stop. Is there a stop to make fuel, like, or a stop for eating, or a stop for resting? A lot of stuff too. But to go back to the business side, what are the issues that you actually need to plan in advance?
Yeah, and that's a great question too, because let's say, for example, that you are just launching a new coaching service, or you're launching a new webinar, and you know that you're going to have more customers coming into your business, right? So the question is, for example, is your business going to be able to support the way how it is right now? Is your business going to be able to support the amount of customers that are coming in? Are you going to have to hire new people? Are you going to have to hire new coaches? Are you going to have to hire, for example, new virtual assistants to help you figure out, if you have a Facebook group or whatever you have? So those are the hiring decisions. The others two is as well, when you have the sales coming in, how are the customers going to pay you? Some of the coaches, actually, I know what they do is they have payment plans. So if you're not being really proactive about how the people are going to pay you, for example, if you have like a 6 months installment plan, and someone credit card denies in the second month, how are you going to get that payment in? So really thinking about that as well. So those are the type of things that you should be thinking about as your business is growing, as you're getting more customers in. How can I support this new business that's coming in that particular setting? How is my business going to be able to support that?
Perfect. No, that's
great. That was clear. Yeah, that's so important. Yes, because a lot of people plan a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of ideas about the business, but then to plan something is the second step. But then you have to plan also the plan B for your plan A. Is that what you said, right?
Yeah.
You always have to have a backup plan. That's what it sounds like.
So all these things that have consequences, and you have to just think about it before. And that of the payments is one of them, I think. That's so cool. What would you suggest to someone that is planning a new idea, or is planning a new part of the business, or a new business from the financial side?
So yeah, and if the financial planning can be really complex, or it can be as simple as possible, right? So if that's the first time that you're doing financial planning, I suggest that you follow I call this the 3-2-3 framework. So that means that there are 3 things that you should be planning for. You should be doing it twice a year, and there are 3 steps to do it. And I can walk you through each of those if you want.
Perfect. Now we have a few minutes to do that, so go for it.
Yeah. Go with it.
So the 3 things that you should be really planning are your sales, so the revenue that's coming in, the expenses that yep,
Computer,
and then
etc.
Yep. Yeah. And then the cash. And the cash is really important because like we said, you might be able to sell someone right now a coaching package for, let's say, $10,000, but they're going to be paying you in installments. So you're not going to be seeing that $10,000 right now. You're going to be seeing it in 2 payments. So that's why it's important to plan for revenue and cash separately. And then, yep. And then the second piece is twice a year. So I like to follow the seasons of nature because that's really easy to remember. So the first thing is when you plan in spring. So the spring is for planning, is for growth. That's when you do all your strategic planning. You're looking at your business. How do you want to grow and where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? So you're really looking ahead. And in the fall is where you're preparing. You're doing the short-term planning. So you're looking at where do I want to be in the next year, in the next 12 months, and you're putting the budget together for the next year. So those are the two times that you want to be planning, at least that, spring and fall. And then the way how you do it, it's really simple too. You take the 3 steps. You start with the data that you have. And of course, before you do that, make sure that your bookkeeper actually is updating all your books. Because as I always say, you cannot make good decisions on bad data. It just doesn't happen. So make sure that you have the updates already. And then you gather as much historical information that you have in your business, any contracts, the product and service sales, any headcount that you have. And you want to get the data for at least the last 2 to 3 years to make sure that you're not missing anything. And then the second step is you revise what has changed. So you might have new information that's not reflected in that financial, such as, you had a new webinar and you know that there's going to be new customers coming in. So you want to put that in your finances, make sure that, the new product services you started offering are reflected. If there's any new contracts that you want to lost, any expenses that you need to add or cut because of that, and new headcount that you need to, hire. And then the third piece is you set your goals for the business and you put the numbers in the goals. So essentially, if you know that you're starting a new product or service, let's say 6 months from now, not right now, but 6 months from now, you figure out things such as what is the start date of your offering, how much you think you're going to sell, what is going to be the price per product or the service, any expenses associated with that new offer. So all of those things, you put them in the spreadsheet, or you can actually use tools for that to help you with it as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of great software tools that are great for bookkeeping and some purposes, and being able to help you with that financial side of it. So, and they almost have their own kind of versions of spreadsheets. So it's really, really helpful because you can click a button after you put all the information in, and everything is calculated for you. So that makes it easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
that
Make
was
it
easy
as
the
easy
way
as possible on yourself.
by the way,
the 3-2-3.
yeah, there's a good one. By the way, do you have any tools, software? Speaking of which, there are so many of those financial software tools. Is there some that on the top of mind that you would recommend? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, there's 2 actually. They're very similar. One is called Fathom, and the other one is called the Spotlight Reporting. Fathom, Spotlight Reporting is, I think they're based in the UK, and Fathom is in the US. So the way how they do it is differently. I personally prefer Fathom because it's very easy to use. You can put the KPIs in there. It's almost like it has a feel of a Fitbit almost. It's very graphic, so I like that. My clients like that as well. And they also started doing forecasting as well just recently. So you can use your forecast and your budgets in there as well. And it's automatically gets your data from your QuickBooks or Xero or whatever software you're using for accounting. And that way, the other thing is what's really important too, once you have this plan together, don't just stick it in your, drawer somewhere to have the dust set on it. Make sure that you're actually comparing your actual numbers coming in to that particular plan. So let's say if in November you plan to make $30,000, go look at it if the actual came 30,000, or actually you even made more, even better for that.
Or less sometimes, but it just depends on the situation and on the year and the time of year, because sometimes the time of year your business will ebb and flow a little bit during certain times of the year. So that's a good point. What is a KPI? And then I'm going to have I plan to ask the next question, but what is a KPI? Because some of us might not know what that is. It's a new term to me. So
KPI stands for the key performance indicator. So it's essentially a number. It's either a financial number or a qualitative number, something that you assign that's really important for you to track in the business, and you want to track it as a health indicator of your business. So for example, let's say that you wanted to track that your goal was to get to $30,000 in the next 3 months, and you will track that as a key performance indicator so that you know how you're doing towards that goal. So that would be your North Star, so that you know when the numbers come in, how are you doing based on that particular number.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Plinny, you want to ask the next question?
Yeah, no, I want to ask actually because Kathy has shared a lot of stuff, and I wanted to know where our audience can find her and how, and if she has something for us and our audience.
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn under Kathy Svetina. You can also go to my website, newcastlefinance.us, where you will find a booklet called the 5 financial mistakes that business owners make. So it's 5 things that you should be avoiding in your business. Do not do those mistakes, and you can download it and read it.
Cool. That's like a
Oh,
cheat
great,
sheet.
so we don't
I
make
love
them.
Yep.
Because it's always easier to learn from somebody else that knows how to steer you the right direction, so you don't have to go backtrack and find and go through those mistakes and learn the hard way. It's always easier to learn from somebody else who's been there and can teach you the ropes like Kathy can. So that's great. Thank you for that gift. But I do have one more question, and that is, what are some of the issues that you can actually need to plan for? And I don't know if we had a chance to touch on this yet, or if you could expand on it if we have. And shouldn't the focus be more on sales? And if so, yes, why? Or if not, why? Did I just complicate that one?
Well, there's a short and a long answer. I'll give you the short answer. The short answer is your business is not just sales. You're not just, you're making money and that's it. You also have expenses with it. So that's why it's important to plan. And that's why it bothers me when I see it online. It's like, oh, I had a 5-figure launch or 6-figure launch. But the question with that is, how much did you actually keep in your pocket? Because that is what is really important. If you have a launch, for example, that it's $20,000, but you spend $19,999 on Facebook ads, you basically made $1. So that's not really a good thing to do, right? So really understand that as you're planning for these launches and you're planning for, whatever you're selling, that sales is just one piece, but you're also going to have expenses with it as well. And that's why it's really important to know your business, to know what is your average expenses right now in your business, and how much can your business actually absorb that particular extra sale that you're getting in, so that you're not adding more to the expenses and you're not actually bringing anything home.
Perfect. Now, that was something I wasn't sure if was said before, but that was well put. Do you have one more question for her client, Plinny, or are you pretty ready?
Yeah, no, it was no, just saying it's really interesting what you say right now, because it's really like a part of the planning that you help people with. Everybody should talk about that, like because you should never do the step too long, because you have to know a lot about your business and plan how much you can make. And don't organize a big launch that is not for you, but it could be for a big, huge company, and then you sell everything. Do you think that it's still good to plan a big thing or a big launch from the financial side of things?
If you can support it, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with big launches. I want to make this clear. Is just be very clear about, if I'm going to make this much money and I'm spending this much, how much are you really going to get it out? And do you need to hire people to support it? How much are you going to spend on ads? How much are you going to spend on tools that you're using? So really think about it holistically, not just, I'm going to get this money, I'm super excited, but think about the other piece too, that's going to cost you as well. And how much is it going to cost you? And does it really make sense for you to go down that path? So think about that as you're planning it, because as you're planning it, then you can figure out, do I need to adjust something? Do I need to adjust the ads? Do I need to adjust my offering? Do I need to hire another person later on? And I can actually have the people that I have in my business right now, they're able to support it. So really think about that as you're doing this. And that's where planning is so valuable, because it helps you be proactive and not reactive.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, brilliant. So, oh my gosh, thank you. And how can people get in touch with you? And we're going to start wrapping. And I got a quick thing to share with the audience before we go. So, do you want to just tell us how we can reach you? Is there a way to connect with you?
Yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Kathy Svetina. I'm the only one there. You can connect there.
You're lucky because they type in Marie Mason and they're like dozens of us. Oh my gosh, you'd be surprised. But anyway, thank you so much, Kathy. We're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. And I just wanted to sit there and say, oh my gosh, Plinny, can you remember
What
our
is that?
cup? It's our mug. Remember? We have
Yeah.
merchandise, guys, and you guys could go to our Marketing Mindset Mastery shop on our Liberty Virtual Solutions website at libertyvirtualsolutions.com/shop. And please make sure you check out our merchandise. We have mugs, t-shirts, backpacks. Kids are getting ready to go to school in the fall. This is a great time to stock up on all those extras. We have notebooks, pens. Oh my gosh, even a pet bed. Don't ask me why that was in there. We still have masks, which I'm thinking of taking off because I think masks are being phased out finally in the US. Anyway, we're going to be phasing out of that creepy cousin pretty soon. I was so looking forward to that. So anyone else relate to that, let me know. But anyway, we're going to be starting to open up to other countries this month. So stay tuned for that. And right now we're only in the US and Canada. But don't worry, Plenty. We're going to be going to Italy soon. I just have to get little
Waiting for that.
I have to get my web developer to help me with that. He's been a little swamped lately. So just don't worry. We will get that open to the rest of the U.S. and rest of the world as well. But do check it out. We have some great hats and everything you can think of. They're great for gifts. They're great for back to school gifts as well. I mean, you name it, kids going off to college, they're going to need tank tops and various different things. So please go check it out. You never know. You might find the perfect gift for their perfect person in your life. So there's a perfect person for somebody, right? So anyway, I'm going to say that in the as best I can on that one. But anyway, so we're going to get ready to close out this show. I cannot believe it's been almost a 15-minute show. But Kathy, thank you so much for being here and being a great guest. And everybody, she was such a wonderful speaker on the topic of financial planning for your business. Oh my gosh, such an important people. When you're doing your goals, make sure you do your finances because that's the health of your business. So, and that's such a great tip. So thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing to our audience for all these wonderful tips on the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. I do want to encourage you to grab Kathy's offer of the 5 things needed in your finances to have healthy and sustainable business, and that is https://newcastle.finance/house. And you can also grab it on our pages and YouTube channels. I will be doing my best to update all that soon. And then you'll be so glad you'll be able to take advantage of that free gift because it'll keep you on track financially. And so all of the links will be on those of the radio show will be on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and also on I'm going to be coming on my website soon. So anyway, meantime, Plinny, would you like to close us out, my dear?
Yeah. So, Kathy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
Your
you
explanation about all these things about the financial side of our business were really clear. So I invite our guests, our audience to check Kathy out. And you can rewatch the episode on w4cy.com, our radio, and also on our YouTube channel. This was your Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you, guys out there, for being with us today. And just join us next week because we have amazing guests every week. So for great tips, ideas, how to make marketing and mindset work for you, we stream live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on W4CY Radio. And until next time, my name is Plinny Phoenix, and here with your host, Mary Mason. Thank you so much. Saying bye for now from Marketing Mindset Mastery. And this ended this week's show. See you next week.
See you next week, guys. Have a great
week. Bye.
Go to our radio page and check out the gifts from our speakers. We'll see you next time on Marketing Mindset Mastery with your host, Marie Mason.